Once upon a time, back in the year of 2010, 17-year-old Amy had just bought her first car with her precious savings. It was far from being a great car, but she grew extremely fond of it, regardless of its issues and poor fuel economy. However, it began to dawn on her that as fuel prices were skyrocketing, the little remainder of her savings was slowly being drained, leading her to arrive at the conclusion that so many of us have at times like this in our lives. So I guess I should get a job now. If you're too young to worry about bringing in your own funds, cherish this moment. Us millennials play on hard mode, so good luck with crushing mode, Gen Z. I started looking around for Christmas temp jobs, but decided that I wanted to apply for something that I was actually interested in. Bit of a luxury, I know, not everybody gets to choose what jobs they really want to go for. So my applications ended up being between working at a local cinema, by the way, the Odeon cinema interview process is a cracking story in itself, or I was considering applying for a retail job at a store called Game. Easily recognisable to those in the UK by its iconic purple branding, but for those of you outside the land of tea and scones, it's basically our version of GameStop. Who'da thunk it by its name? It seemed like an ideal job for me because if you remember back from my Weird Kid video, I actually started embracing my nerdy side when I was 16. At this point, the newest console I owned was a Nintendo DSi. But after working at Game, I decided to buy a 360, so that I could finally play now firm favourites like BioShock and Red Dead Redemption and Mass Effect 2. Late, but better than never. For the bulk of the time I was working there, I just had to immerse myself into sites like IGN, and I just committed to staying on top of the news. It was my new passion now. Anyway, so I sent them my CV, and I was actually surprised by how quickly I got called for an interview. I was a little nervous. This was only my second interview I'd ever had, and I wanted to nail it. I met the store manager, a rounded, cheerful man. I shook his hand, and he asked me to follow him through to the back room so that we could proceed with the interview. So he sat me down next to him and was just going through my CV, asking a few questions here and there, why I wanted the job, etc. Finally, just as it seemed like things were wrapping up, he said, "Okay, now pitch a game to me. Any game." I actually panicked a bit on the spot, racking my brain for any recent games I played that I had actually really enjoyed and I could really pitch an idea for it. But then I realized I could pick any game. It didn't have to be a recent game. So, in my weird way, I sold him the Pokemon series. I started with Pokemon Yellow, stemming from those original games and the experience that goes with them to the latest versions. Not long after I'd started talking, he stopped me mid-pitch and told me I'd got the job. Because I was only a Christmas temp, I didn't get an official staff shirt. But I got something way better. An obnoxiously yellow Donkey Kong Country Returns promotional t-shirt. You could spot me a mile off. Actually, if you want a picture of it, here it is. This was taken around 2010, 2011, where I'd painted an Applejack in a kid's school bathroom. Some things are just left unanswered. The first 2 months of work there were really enjoyable and pretty uneventful. But as it grew closer to the busiest time of the year, I experienced a few issues. Unfortunately, I had to deal with a few cases of blatant sexism. Oh gosh, did one of the other staff members start isolating you because you're female? No. All the people I worked with at Game were great. Anybody working at Game watching this is thinking, whew, at least we're not going to have to deal with any staff issues. Oh, it must have been one of those toxic, masculine, hardcore gamer customers then. Not saying those kinds of people don't exist, because they definitely do. Overwatch chat, I'm looking at you. But actually, no, not in this case. Both of these main sexist remarks came from women. Wait, what? See, let me paint you a picture here. Grab yourself some popcorn, it's story time. So it was a busy day at the store in mid-December. Back in 2010, people used to actually buy games in a physical store. Crazy, right? There was a pretty hefty line for the checkout, and 2 of the sales guys, along with one of the assistant managers, were occupying the 3 checkouts, whilst I was on the shop floor helping customers around the store. You see, folks, I'm the kind of person who keeps an eye on customers from a distance, and if they genuinely look confused or have been pondering around a specific area for a prolonged period of time, only then will I go up and ask them if they need any help. I hardcore cringe at those instances where you walk in a store and within 0.5 seconds of stepping over that entrance threshold, you get bombarded with, "What are you looking for today? Can I help you? Oh, what do you need?" You know, it really puts me off the whole shopping experience. Anyway, so mother and son were wandering around the store for an extended period of time, and the kid must have been around 7 or 8. But the mother began to look a bit disgruntled, so I knew this was my cue. "Hey, I see you've been wandering around for a little while. Are you looking for anything in particular?" Suddenly, the kid bursts out, "I want to be heaven." I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. "I've been looking for Turtle Beach headphones." I honestly couldn't decipher what he was saying through that muffled Swansea accent, and all of the background noise in the small, crowded store really didn't help. So I lean in closer and bend down a little and say, I'm really sorry, could you just say that again, please?" "Turtle Beach headphones." Ugh, never mind. She wouldn't actually know anyway. We need one of the guys to help us. They'll actually know what you want. No, she didn't, did she? She did. She begins pulling on her kid's arm, and he repeats it again, and I managed to break down what he'd said this time. Turtle Beach headphones. Oh, your son wants Turtle Beach headphones. Sure, I can show you where those are. No thanks, we're going to find out from one of the guys. By this point, I'm just dumbfounded. Like, lady, I just told you I know what you're looking for. I just couldn't work out what your son was saying because he was mumbling so badly. But I'm not a very confrontational person, and I was pretty shy at the time, so instead I said, "Well, all of the other staff are on the tills right now, but I do know where you can find the Turtle Beach." She cuts me off. "I'd rather talk to one of the guys, please," and drags her kid off. Have you seen this queue, lady? It's Christmas. It's the busiest time of the year. Oh, R.I.P. in peace. So this lady attempts to go around the side of the queue, cutting in front of people, just to flag one of the guys down. And she's there, just waiting for a few minutes. She can see that they're busy. She's just tapping her fingers on the counter. Meanwhile, I've grabbed the Turtle Beach headphones that we actually stock to take to this lady. And by the time I'm halfway there, she's had enough and drags her son out of the shop without looking at me. She just straight up blanked me. Wow. Just wow. I look back on it now and laugh, but at the time, I wasn't used to people being outwardly rude. So I took it to heart a little. Was it something I said? Was I inconsiderate in some way? Did I do bad here? Was I a bad employee? But wait, over the next few days, a very similar situation took place. So a nice old couple came in while the store was pretty packed. To be honest, they looked confused from the moment they got inside. Like, what is this sci-fi nonsense? But they seemed to be having a discussion around the Wii section, so I gave them a few minutes and then headed over to see if there was anything they needed help with. The old man cheerfully explained to me that they were looking for a console to buy to entertain their grandkids for when they visited. So I started asking how old the kids were, and did the grandparents want to get involved in playing too? Did they know what kinds of games the kid liked? Meanwhile, his wife stayed really quiet, and her face was becoming increasingly sour. So it really sounded like they could do with a Wii. So I was talking through the differences between the Wii and other consoles and why it might be a good option for them to consider. But then the old lady abruptly interrupted me by stating to her partner, "George, I think we need to talk to one of the men. I think we've got a good few options here, don't you think?" But she's a young lady. The boys will know better. They're the experts." All while I was standing right there. I felt so uncomfortable. I completely understand wanting a second opinion from another member of staff, but outwardly judging me just based upon the fact that I'm a female and that you assume that the men are the experts, and saying it out loud to my face was pretty uncalled for. So they decided to leave it for now and have a think. And on the way out, the old man said to me, "Sorry about this," and smiled awkwardly. I didn't see them come back in the store, but who knows, maybe some big, strong, manly nerd whisked that old lady off her feet and saved the day. And now we reach the end credits. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thing is, these story videos take a while to come out because I work full-time. I know I've told the story a million times, but I'm hoping that I can go freelance in January so that I can fully dedicate time to my channel and hopefully, make it part of my freelance job. That would be really neat because then I could get videos out, every 2 or 3 weeks rather than every so often and filler in between. I've read some horror stories of, you know, things that have been said to other women, how they've been treated badly just because they're a woman. I didn't have that with the guys that I was working with. They were really nice. They were really fun and lovely and treated me like a normal person. But those women that came in, like they genuinely thought I was just clueless because I was a lady, and that is just so rude. So for anybody watching this and you're thinking of judging somebody, maybe don't. Maybe see what they're capable of, and then make your own decision. I've included some fan art in the end here. Thank you so much for sending it to me. If anybody wants to get in touch, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. I'm posting cool artwork that I do and little side projects. So it's, you know, if you're interested in keeping up with me, then feel free to follow. But yeah, thank you for watching. I don't have a cool tagline, but I'll come up with one soon.